here back for another edition of MD All Access. I am here today with former three-time Mr. Universe Callum Von Mulger, coming off of his very first NPC competition just yesterday in Culver City, and not surprisingly, his first win. Callum, how you doing, man?
Very good, thanks, Dave.
So, tell us. There was a lot of talk over the last handful of years about what your future was going to look like in this fitness industry. You've, like I said, you three-time Mr. Universe. I believe you got the Junior Mr. Universe once or twice. You did about all you could as far as that aspect or those federations. What really facilitated your decision to dive into the NPC and go this route?
Yeah, so basically, yeah, in my past, I did a lot of shows over in Europe and Australia, and that was in the universe shows, and I got the junior, the amateur, and the professional. And as soon as I won the professional universe, it's kind of like, well, that's it. You can't really go any further in that field. And I was always looking at I've always loved the Mr. Olympia. I've always loved this bodybuilding, But it wasn't until that they announced that they were going to do the classic physique division. When they decided that they were introducing that, that's when my ears kind of pricked up, and I was immediately interested in that. I hadn't yet got I don't think I yet got the Pro Universe at that time, but I thought once I've done that, that could be something definitely for down the track, yeah, and so this year I've been thinking about it a lot. It's been playing on my mind, and I thought, fuck it. You know what? I'm just gonna do it. I wanna fucking compete in the classic Olympia one year. I think it would be awesome. So I actually rang up Jim, and I just wanted to introduce myself and talk to him. I met him earlier before once, and I just said that, hey, my name's Callum Von Mulger, and I'm really keen to. I've never competed with the NPC, the IFBB. Really keen to start competing here in the classic physique division. And the 1 year I would love to compete on the Olympia stage. I'm from Australia. I have a visa. I'm living here for the last 2 years. And which shows would you suggest or recommend that I can do that I can get started with that? How do I get my pro card, and what's the steps? Because it's a whole new federation. I don't know the shows and what. Sort of where to go. So he just told me that he's very happy that I'm going to compete, and that he would suggest that I do this. I said that there was a show on November 12th in 2 weeks. I called him about 2 weeks out.
Whoa, hold on. So this show you just did, you only really prepped for a couple of weeks for it, huh?
I signed up for 2 weeks out. 2 weeks out. But I mean, I had in the back of my mind about 4 weeks ago that I might do a show. So I was like, I wasn't dieting yet, but I was still training hard, and still I'm still trying to put on weight. But then 2 weeks passed, I thought, fuck, what, I'm going to do this show. And I signed up for it, I applied, I registered, and then I was like, okay, I've got to do the diet now for 2 weeks. Like, cut out the junk food.
For 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, I know. I don't want to really say that, I feel bad a little bit, but... it is just my body. It's just it's hard for me to kind of really gain a lot of weight in the off season. I'm always kind of within 10, 15 pounds, let's say. And that was it. I decided that he said, if you can win a few overalls, if you can do the NPC. I'm not sure if I want to talk to him this week if I can and see what the next steps are, but I don't think that I'm able to do the nationals and apply for that way because I'm not a citizen. I think I have to do. He said that you probably have to do a number of NPC shows. As long as you win the overalls, 3 or 4 shows or something, that they can probably sign me off for a pro card that way.
Okay. I was. We had discussed that on the show Bob Chickarillo does that we do together, the last rep. We had discussed you competing this weekend and talked a little bit about what could possibly be next for you, and that was one of the things that was brought up. Even the nationals, and then even the North Americans and the USA's. As far as my understanding, you have to have citizenship. I don't know that a visa works, so we were kind of trying to figure out whether you had to be back in Australia to turn pro, or how that was going to work. I know there's other international competitions, not necessarily just in Australia, that that allow the opportunity to earn a pro card. I'm not sure if the classic bodybuilding division at the Arnold Classic, upcoming in March, I'm not sure if that offers an IFBB pro
It's,
card.
I think they aren't even. I think they scrapped the classic physique division in the Arnold's this year,
Oh,
next year.
okay. Well, there you go. Because I know the bodybuilders at the Arnold Amateur, whoever takes the overall, earns an IFBB pro card, but I wasn't sure about the classic division there.
Yeah, I was on the forums and they didn't include classic physique division in there, and then I was told from a classic competitor yesterday. He said that there's some mix-up and that they weren't actually going to do the classic division in the Arnold's next year. So yeah.
Well, I'm sure whichever direction. I know it's
Yeah.
you literally. Well, guy, again, for the people that watching this interview, he just won yesterday, so I appreciate you taking the time. You just got off stage, 12, 14 hours ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's backtrack a little. When you really busted out onto the scene, when I came to Australia in 2014, and we did our training videos and stuff, and you were on the cover of MD. There was obviously a lot of comparisons to a young Arnold Schwarzenegger, height-wise, structure-wise, looks-wise, and just charisma-wise, and people were excited about this young new guy who could do things in the sport. You had talked to me even back then about the importance of aesthetics for you, and that you didn't just want to kind of follow the same tracks that a lot of guys in the IFBB do and just try to get as big as possible for the sake of being big. Now, obviously, that was a discussion. When people were talking about you competing in the universe, if you are going to jump into the IFBB, how much size were you going to have to put on? Talk to us a little bit about that. About your focus on aesthetics and not necessarily just wanting to pack on the size. Because I think a lot of people think that you could have put on, another 40 or 50 pounds or whatever, and kind of been like the next Gunter Schlierkamp.
Yeah. Look, I have to say, like the IFBB, like the monster bodybuilding IFBB is very impressive. It takes a lot of sacrifice, a lot of work, and a lot of training and everything to get there. The classic bodybuilding is great. The aesthetics and all that's always appealed to me. It's kind of like a combination of hardcore, like old school hardcore bodybuilding as well, like very like the 80s, 70s style. Like that kind of era, like in that sort of that kind of time, it's like that what kind of really still stood out to me and appealed to me. So for me to be able to kind of strive towards that kind of a physique where it's not, I still don't, because if I was to do IFBB like the Olympia, I'd have to put on like 20 pounds of muscle, and that's a lot. And I prefer to, I still prefer the older style, I just like that kind of. I reckon the hardcore old school 80s is like what kind of really appeals to me, and I like that. So for me, that's kind of where my thinking, my vision is still towards the physique that I'd kind of like to build up one day. Yeah.
Now, I saw some physiques on John Lindsay's Muscle Contest Instagram page yesterday, and it looks to me that your size is pretty comparable in the classic physique division as it was to when you were winning the universes, but maybe just downsized a little bit. How much muscle did you have to peel back from, when you were competing on a bodybuilding stage versus making weight here for classic physique?
Yeah, I did. It wasn't too bad. I probably was about. I was probably weighing about, on the universe stage, I was probably 235. On this stage, yesterday, I was probably just under 230.
Also, the weight was pretty close then, huh?
Still pretty close. Yeah.
As far as your conditioning goes, do you feel like you got in better shape for the bodybuilding than you did for classic, or was your goal for the classic to match the kind of shape that you brought to the universe stage?
I think they were very, very, very close. I think I think the universe was last year was the best, still a little bit better, because I had longer prep, I had a longer notice. I gave myself 12 weeks of kind of the idea was in my head of 12 weeks, you're going to do a proper, 12-week prep for this. Whereas this one was just kind of the last kind of minute. I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try and fast track to the Olympia if I can. So I know that here going forward, my condition and stuff should only be better. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember when I was riding around with you in Australia for a couple days. I think you were like 5 or 7 weeks out from the universe in Korea or the junior universe,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I remember making a stop at McDonald's, and I was like 8 weeks out from a show, and I just my metabolism is such that I can't really pull that off. But you've got a pretty crazy metabolism, and you generally speaking, the younger you are, usually the metabolism's a little bit faster. But
Yeah.
I mean, is your off-season shape, where are you at off-season wise? I mean, body fat percentage, if you had to guess where you're sitting all year round, I mean, you never really get like that heavy body fat wise, do you?
I don't. Honestly, like off season, I actually did the Muscle Beach contest just for fun in September, and that was a 12 hours notice. My buddy, I finished the workout at Gold's Gym. It was 10 at night. I was like, "Hey Stan, what are you doing tomorrow?" He's like, "Oh, there's a competition down at Muscle Beach." I said, "Oh, do you reckon?" I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to just step on stage with my
Right.
nose to see what I could do, right?
Well, what happened?
Well, yeah, I won it. I won like the category overall. Trophies are up on the fridge behind me.
Were
But
what was the people's reaction? I mean, the other
uh,
guys competing when you just kind of wung it.
yeah, well, obviously, like there's a lot of novices and stuff there that hadn't really done any shows, and I've been competing for a number of years. But I was going in there with kind of like my off season, which was I was probably at 245-ish on stage. Still, I was still lean. I was lean. I wasn't ripped, but I still had cuts and stuff, and that's kind of where I kind of sit around 245 in the off season is kind of normal. It's not a heck of a lot of change. It's just really dropping water and a little bit of fat. It's hard for me to bulk up. It is hard for me to put on excess amount of weight. I find that for me, I need to have a lot of calories. I need to, because I'm very just always active. So for me, it's like, I can get away with these cheat meals a lot. I can eat the pizzas, I can eat the burgers and stuff, which is, when I'm not getting prepping, I'll eat burgers 5 times a week or something, every day almost. Yeah. If I don't make them at home, I'll go out and buy one. It's my go-to food, and yeah. Well, right now I can do that. I might not be able to do it forever, so fucking, I'm gonna enjoy it while I can.
Right. Well, you're back in Venice. You said you've been here for a couple years. Aside from hitting the gym and doing that, what else have you been up to lately? I mean, obviously, you've got a million things going on in the world of fitness. Give us some insight to that.
Yeah, so it has been a very, very busy few months. I no longer with Solcore. I now started my own company with some partners. Myself and Brad Martin, we started our own supplement company called Origin. So we launched that on the 1st of October, and it's going really well, really, really well.
That's Origin, ORIGIN, Origin. Okay.
Yeah, RIGIN. Yeah. So we come out with a protein, an instantized whey protein isolate, a pre and amino, just the 3 go-tos that I always use. So we've been working hard on that and kind of the launch. So that's been really well. What else? I've been making some efforts to do some sort of kind of print commercial work, a little bit of acting and stuff here and there. But aside from that, it's been really mostly just kind of focused on the training and the idea of getting my pro card now. I had Generation Iron actually here with me 2 weeks ago filming a documentary.
Okay.
I think they're filming the Generation Iron 2.
Part 2, yeah.
So they came. They spent a couple of days here. So but yeah, it's that, and then I've got a few trips coming up. I'll go back to see the family, back in Australia for Christmas and things like that. And yeah, but otherwise it's it's always there's always something on.
Now,
Always.
the Origin supplements, is that something that's available here in the United States, or is that back in Australia? Because I know there's a lot of guys you might not realize there's very different rules and regulations from country to
Yeah.
country as far as not just what supplements are allowed, but the packaging. I know in Australia some of the powders we have here have to be capsulized, or vice versa. If it's a capsule, it has to be in a scoopable powder. Are you available in the U.S. or Australia, or kind of what's your distribution right now?
Yeah, so at the moment it is available worldwide. We do worldwide shipping. It's online distribution at the moment. Here in the US, it's all direct online. But I am working on getting it distributed to Australia. We want to get it to Europe and the other countries, so that I can go to the expos and meet everybody, and have the Origin line there as well. There is no complications with the formulas. It's really it's the thing that got me excited the most about this is because I've got my Bradley. We both have a lot of input in the design, but also in the formulas, in the production of these products. So there's no bullshit proprietary blends. They're all clinically dosed. They're the products that we tested and that we like, we tried, flavors, everything. So it's not just like, okay, yeah, I'm going to stand in front of this, it's like, here's this product, I'm going to stand in front of it. It's like, we chose what we want, we know what we like, and we know what we expect when we take supplements. So yeah, it's really exciting because we kind of came up with it from scratch, put it all together, and now it's available for everyone. And so far, yes, we've had really great reviews, and there's a lot of hype on it. So,
And what's the website address so people can go and take a look, pick that up?
it's www.originsubs.com.
All right, cool. Well, guys, make sure to check that out. Let's talk a little bit about, you touched a little bit about the acting stuff. And, this is one of the things, like, again, there's so many comparisons between Callum and Arnold. And really, there's only one Arnold. And, but we've seen a couple of bodybuilders that have had a little bit of luck in commercial work and things like that. We saw Roland Kicklinger back in the mid-2000s, who obviously there was comparisons between Roland and Arnold. We saw Gunther Schlierkamp. There's a handful of guys that are out in Venice right now. I've seen Brad Rowe in a handful of commercials. We've seen Caden Vu in commercials and TV appearances. What have you found is the demand for, somebody with your appearance out in, the California Hollywood landscape as far as, commercials and print and stuff like that?
Yeah, so it's kind of hit and miss because, like, I would go to agencies earlier on, and they'd see me at first, and they go, "Look, you're a bit shocked by the size. You're a bit too big. You're going to be too muscular. You're not going to get a lot of jobs." Even acting agencies, they said, "You're too muscular. You're going to have to lose a bit of weight and stuff." And for a bodybuilder, it's not really an option.
Right.
So at first, for a while, I was a little bit discouraged. Like, there must be. I'll just wait. I'm sure, like, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But then you have to remember, it's like I had this discussion. It's like, well, you can't really use that excuse anymore because look at Dwayne Johnson. He's fucking 6'6", whatever. He's 250 pounds. He's the highest paid actor right now. So you can't say that muscles. You can't say that that's an excuse for not getting roles, right? But I think right now it comes down. It's about displaying personality and who you are and stuff. And I found that going to some of these, like meeting them in person, it's they get to get to leave them an impression of who you are and stuff, and that really helped. And the people that I've met so far have been very impressed, and I was able to get a few callbacks for like V8 Veggie Juice commercials and stuff like that. So but for me, it's kind of changed also technology and the social. Now that everyone has got a platform to use to express their voice, and it's now all these agents and stuff. Instead of kind of the talent going after them, they can now go after the talent. They can look up different social media sites and all that sort of stuff, and they can kind of go through a whole list of different personalities and people and stuff, and they can kind of select, oh, this person looks like the type of person we need for this, and they've got that shape and whatever. So it's really amazing how it's kind of transforming. Technology is evolving, and that these agencies are now kind of seeking out influencers based off of their social media following and their profiles. So So I'm not too fussed. I'm not too worried about going after them and trying to get these roles. Now I can really focus on the bodybuilding. I'm really keen to just to grind this out and continue to put out the good content and keep it real and just be myself and showcase myself on the YouTube and all those channels. And in the hope that one day that someone will see it and they'll go, fuck, this guy's he's pretty cool. We want to get him on the show or whatever. Let's contact him. So I'll leave it up to them. Yeah.
All right. Speaking of being real and staying yourself, I was just watching an interview on a show the other day with a British actor who was on an American TV show, and obviously he had to lose his British accent for the program he was on, and they had some fun with him going back and forth. Have you found for some of these commercials and stuff like that, they want you to speak with an American accent per se, and you got to change your voice?
I thank God not yet, because I'd get caught out. I think pretty good.
Can we? I hate to put you on the spot, man. Can we just one sentence or something short in an American accent?
I think it sucks, but sometimes it turns into an Arnold Schwarzenegger. But I do have one person that actually just fucking came up to me and talked to me at a cafe once, and. It was this one person and he said one word, and ever since that he said this sentence to me, I've been able to do the American accent. Because he just was it was just bizarre. But I was waiting in line to get a coffee or something at a restaurant, and this fella, he stood up off his chair and he walked over to me, and this is what he said. He said, oh, fuck.
Just do it. Just go with it.
He goes, excuse me, sir. I couldn't help. I was just eating my scallops over there, and I just noticed you have a fantastic physique. You're just phenomenal. Your biceps, and you just. I mean, how old are you? I'm 26. He said, "Wow, I'm 63 years old. When I looked like you when I was your age, but you just look fantastic." Is that right? But the way he said scallops, he goes, I was just sitting there eating my scallops. And I was like, oh, well.
I wonder if the guy was originally from Wisconsin.
The word stuck in my head, scallops. The way he said it is like, I couldn't help. I was just finishing my scallops. And I was like, oh. And I like, that's how he sounded. I was like, this is fantastic.
I'm no expert. I'm no expert, so and I'm sure you've got people around you who are going to be able to help you a lot more with your acting career, but you might want to stay away from the word scallops. just the word scallops. So. I had some people. I was talking to some people about doing an interview with you, and I know we wanted to have some fun and kind of BS and stuff. And sometimes it seems a little redundant or a little mundane to get into basic training stuff. But you being, how old are you? You're 25, 26? 26. Yeah. So being a younger guy with a physique as advanced as yours is. There's still a lot of training questions that people have. So like I said, for as much as I don't want this to turn into some sort of like super vanilla interview, give us, you're training all the time, but give us like a breakdown of what a general week looks like for you. I mean, are you a one body part per day type of guy, volume, heavier weights? What does a workout regimen for a week look like for you?
Yeah. So up until now, my workout weeks were looking like I was doing about one body type per week, except for the exception the last 2 weeks I was doing abs and calves about 3 times a week in the mornings for cardio, but I would train typically once a day. I would go in the afternoons and I would train, say, chest, and I'll train that for an hour. I would just go through I'll go through either combination of compound exercises, with machines, dumbbells or barbells, and then some isolations at the end. It's kind of always been that sort of style. And I'll throw in drop sets, I'll do forced reps or negative reps, and I'll always mix it up, but never 2 weeks in a row the same at the moment. So I don't have, I'm following the non-routine routine.
Okay, sure.
So basically I would go in there, my training buddy Frank McGrath, we've been training together, and we'll go in there and we just say we walk in. I'll text him first. We're training. What are we doing? Chest, legs, back, and then we go in there and we just make it up on the fly. And we'll go through. It's like, and we kind of have really good understanding ideas. Like last week we did a lot of rows, we did a lot of machines. So this week we're going to do some cables or some dumbbells or something. So it's constantly changing, so that we constantly getting different angles, different grips, and different exercise and machines and stuff. So that way, there's no chance that the body can get used to it. It's got to constantly adapt. I used to follow kind of regimental routines, like the week in, week out sort of stuff, but I found that I need to keep it interesting, need to keep it different, and the body's kind of guessing. So yeah, it's constantly kind of adapting, evolving. Yeah. But always, you can't reinvent the wheel. It's always around those exercises that are going to work. It's just doing them different days, different weeks, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Do you do any real heavy lifting, like real heavy squats, real heavy deads? I mean, is that something that you guys get into, or is everything moderate as far as the weight and the rep range?
Not as much as I'd like to. I used to do a lot of heavy lifts, and I used to try and reef up as much fucking weight off the floor as I could, and it felt good for the ego and good for the biceps and shit like that. But right now, it's been doing a lot more kind of focus, squeezing, and flexing, and concentration, time and attention. We do go through phases. Like for a bench press, sometimes we'll just want to go heavy. We'll go 6 reps of maxing out. Certain exercises we will try and max out on. But for legs and stuff, it's kind of more volume, higher reps, higher sets and stuff, like for the legs and stuff. For the most part, the rep ranges are going to be a little bit higher, around 10, 15 reps or something like that. Yeah.
All right, now, are you doing, I mean, like I said, anybody who follows you on social media knows that your conditioning is good year round. Obviously a higher metabolism, and you can kind of be lax with your diet. Do you do any cardio at all, just, for body fat, or even for just cardiovascular health and endurance throughout the course of the year?
Not typically, no. I don't do much. I know, asshole. But I don't do a heck of a lot of cardio. I am always active. Like when I'm not at the gym, I'm always running around doing other stuff. So I find that, I am burning calories whether I like it or not. But for the show, for the competitions, I was doing cardio 5 times a week, and I'll do 40 minutes a day.
Oh, so not a small amount.
Yeah. Say again? Sorry?
I said it's not really a small amount. I know some guys, we hear guys like Sean Roden or Dexter Jacks are doing 15 or 20 minutes of cardio a day. I mean, so you're still putting in, over a half hour every day. So
yeah, I was, especially the last 2 weeks. I would do, at least I was between 3 and 5 sessions of cardio a week. So I don't know, I might have done like 10 cardio sessions or something. But they were at least 30 to 40 minutes, and I'll do 20 minutes on the stepper. Just consistent, and 20 minutes on a treadmill, and like on an incline at a walk. So not like running or anything, just constant. Yeah. So and then some ab work and stuff. So that was it. Because I knew I got to kind of really shed down some water and drop some fat. Sort of the alarm bells ringing in my head. So I was like, yeah, do the work. But I think it's good. I will try and keep up some more cardio just to keep the cardiovascular fitness. I think it's great. I think having some sort of cardio exercise in your workouts week, I think is a really good idea, and I will try and keep up with it if I can. I will try.
What's the most that you've ever had to do for cardio? Like, have you ever had 45 minutes twice a day, or like doing an hour after a workout? What's the most you've ever had to do in a day? It was an hour. It was like, I'm not trying to guilt trip you here. I'm just, like I said, just trying to get an idea.
Yeah. I did 40 minutes one morning, and then I came back and did a workout, and I did 20 minutes afterwards as well. But I ate some shit in between, so I felt bad. So
do a little extra cardio at night. Now you're a young guy, obviously very active as far as working out and stuff goes. But we know a lot of bodybuilders try to stay away from other sorts of recreational sports for the fear of injury. I know when I was younger, I was basically a giant baby. I didn't want to do skiing. I didn't want to do snowboarding. I didn't want to play basketball. I had friends who did bar volleyball leagues, and I stayed away from all that stuff because I'm like, oh, what if I hurt my knee? What if I fall and hurt my arm? I mean, do you get out and do other sort of sports activities, or do you pretty much focus your physical stuff to working out and training?
So I was always very accident prone growing up, so I used to fucking beat myself up without even liking it, without even helping it, and that kind of taught me a lesson to know where the boundaries are. I was always kind of a bit of a thrill seeker, so when I got into my bodybuilding and when I was getting into competition, I would reduce that. I wouldn't put myself in any, like yourself, risky situations. And being accident prone early on sort of taught me my limits and knew what I could and couldn't get away with. But honestly, right now, I don't. Now I'm a bit of a adrenaline junkie. I have got a Harley Davidson. I got a night rod, so I like to take that out. I take the jet ski out. You know, I'm not afraid to go down to the beach and do, you know, pull ups or climb the ropes or do Roman rings and stuff. And I know it could be a little bit risky for the joints and ligaments and stuff, but I enjoy it. It makes me happy and stuff. You know, I know riding a bike is very dangerous, but it makes me happy. And LA traffic is a joke, so it also gets me to the gym faster.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm not too. You know, I will get out. It's just about sort of understanding, knowing the limits. You know, I know what I can. I'm pretty good at knowing what I can and cannot get away with. And so long as you have that, you know, that understanding, yeah, it's pretty fun. So yeah.
All right, now let's talk a little bit about moving forward, because one of the interesting things about the classic physique division, or any division that is weight class restricted, is that they are putting a cap on muscularity in how big you can get for the sake of trying to maintain aesthetic physiques. Now, that almost seems counterintuitive for some old school bodybuilders, because it's like, well, I want to lift and I want to make progress, but not too much progress. Now, we just found out last week that the IFBB has actually increased the weight limit for the men's physique classes, I believe by 5 pounds. It might be a little bit more than 5 for some of the taller classes, but I think 5 pounds. It's not for the NPC.
Men's physique or men's classic?
Classic physique.
Okay, classic physique. Yeah,
Yeah,
they increased it to 5 pounds.
Yeah, so when you turn pro, it's 5 or 10. I know it's 5 for sure. It might be 10. I'd have to look. There's documentation on. We have some of the stuff up on MD. Otherwise, all the official stuff, as always, is on npcnewsonline.com and the IFBB Pro League's website. But yeah, they've allowed what they, you know, the goal behind that was they still want progression from an amateur level to a professional level. But for you, you know, even with an extra 5 pounds, because you just made weight for this show, right? You had to be 232, and that's what you weighed, right?
It was hard.
So even with an extra 5 pounds, what does that do to your training routine, knowing that you can't get too big? Because so many of us that have this, you know, this hardcore training mindset, we go in and we eat to get big, and we lift to get big, and we do everything we can to build that muscle. And for most guys, genetics is the limitation. We don't, you know, there's very few guys who have the issue where, like, well, I better not lift too much because I'll get too big. But with classic physique, that is a concern. So how do you tailor a training program around knowing that you can't get too big? I mean, is it just lighter weights and reps, or you going to back off the training a little bit? How do you monitor that?
Well, honestly, in my head, I always want to get bigger.
It's like right. That's the mentality.
Right. Exactly right. So it's like, for me, I know there are certain points I really want to work on. You know, I want to bring up some weak points and develop them. And so if we're granted an extra 5 pounds, I'm going to use them up as much as I can. It's honestly, it's not going to really it's not going to slow me down or limit my training style or method. I'm still going to be trying to just put on as much quality muscle mass as I possibly can. But I believe that, because in my head, I still want to have that kind of old school hardcore 80s look. You know, I don't want to go down the full extreme, you know, IFBB Olympia bodybuilder look. So I think having that as a kind of a checkpoint, as a goal, it helps. If I'm not sure, for my height, I'm 6'2". I think that enables me to be 237 perhaps on stage. If I was 237, muscle just like ripped, that's fine by me. You know, I would actually, if I could get there and maintain that and stay there, that I will do that. You know, or 235 or something. You know, I'm happy to be elite, like stage ripped to the bone on stage at that weight. For me, I think that's a really good weight. And then I wouldn't have to, you know, if I could get there and be there, then my training, I would just maintain at that. You know, I wouldn't need to go pushing it any further. I wouldn't need to go, you know, eating and doing anything more to get extra weight. You know, I would just cap it there and be happy. You know, so long as it was giving me the results I needed at competitions and stuff, then That's fine. Yeah, yeah.
All right, now you're training out in Venice, California. The current and first classic physique champion, Danny Hester, is out that way. Have you had a chance to meet Danny and train with him or talk with him at all?
Yeah, I see him at the gym. I see him at Gold's Gym Venice, and he looked phenomenal on the stage, the at Olympia Classic Olympia stage. And so I see him here and there training clients at Gold's Gym. You know, I'm not sure if he said he will do next year. He might do next year. I know he really struggled to hit the weight limitation too. But you know, I'm definitely going to, if I can compete next year, then I'll be coming for him. So. Yeah.
Do you think, this is an interesting thing that's been discussed about the classic physique division, is that once you turn professional, there aren't any height divisions, and it creates a very interesting dynamic that we've seen on a professional stage because we are seeing guys that are 5'5" or 5'4" next to guys. We had Robert Timms this year at the Olympia, who I believe was 6'3" or 6'4". All things being equal, as far as muscularity and conditioning, do you feel like having, because in bodybuilding, all things being equal, the taller guy usually has the advantage. This year, a perfect example, Dallas McCarver. I mean, Dallas, just being 6'1", made a lot of the 5'7", 5'8" guys he stand next to look small. Do you feel that being 6'2" is going to be an advantage for you in the classic physique, or maybe a little bit of a disadvantage because a lot of the guys are shorter?
I think advantage because you got a little bit more stage presence. Having longer arms, you can kind of stand up and kind of really stand over and be quite impressive. With the extra height, I think it could definitely help. And so long as it's all balanced, right? You can have like you said, all muscularity and conditioning together. But I guess if you have the good shape, proportions, and genetics to back that up, and I think that the height could definitely be an aid. But so long as that it all flows and you don't look like you have any spots to hide. So. Yeah, you got to have the whole package, I guess. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I tell you what, I know you got some places to be. I know. Again, we really appreciate you coming on today. Just like I said, less than 24 hours off your win. What I like to do is I want to do something a little bit different with my show and throw some like totally non-bodybuilding related questions out. So I'm going to ask most of the guys the same questions so we can compare them a little bit. There are 4 questions, and I asked Kevin Levrone. Kevin was my first guest that I had on last week. So these are a couple of offbeat questions before we wrap things up. Tell me your first concert you were ever at.
First
music concert you were ever at, yeah.
Future Music Festival in Melbourne.
Like as far as a band, like what was the band that you saw? Yeah, like a band.
Fuck. I think it was either Skrillex or Knife Party.
Skrillex was your first concert. All right, cool. All right, on to question number 2. Now this is going to be an interesting one, and maybe we can expand on this question. Your first celebrity crush.
Oh shit. Fuck. The chick off True Lies. That the Terminator. Who's that girl?
True Lies, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Dude, what is it? She's doing Activia yogurt commercials now, man. Her hair's Jamie Lee Curtis. No, she was smoking hot in the old Halloween movies in her younger day. I
saw that when I saw like the fuck True Lies when I was like 10 years old. I saw this babe. I was like, fuck. I didn't see her like stick names or anything like that.
Well, you ruined like part 2 of my question. I was going to be like, hey, let's be honest about your situation. You're a 26-year-old guy who's been on the cover of every magazine, full head of hair. You've got the arms, the chest, everything. You're riding a Harley. I'm assuming, without getting too much into detail, you probably do pretty well with the ladies, and probably in a position being out in California that if you did have a celebrity crush, there would be some sort of access to making that a reality. But with Jamie Lee Curtis being probably close to, I know she's at least double your age. I think she's in her 60s. You're probably not going to be going after, even like a Cindy Crawford or something. She's like in her early 50s, but she's still like smoking. So I thought maybe you'd go that route. But all right.
It's the first thing I thought of. I was like childhood. First ever celebrity crush, like
I think absolutely. The scene where he was playing like the investigator and he made her dance on the bed and stuff like that, and she was in the black. But that that was definitely hot. All right, on to the next question. If you had one superpower, what would it be?
Fuck. Probably fly.
That's the same. Kevin Levrone said fly too. Same thing first. Like being, I'm waiting for somebody to say, invisibility or walk through walls, but flying's pretty badass. All right, your last one. You've got a huge social media following. As far as the fitness industry and the guys especially, you're right up there with Phil Heath and Kai Green as far as followers. I think you're at like what 1.6 million followers or something like that on Instagram or something crazy. So obviously your social media following is absolutely huge. Who is your favorite person to follow on social media?
Uh, I I really do. I think a lot of people will agree with this one, but I really do like following The Rock. You know, he was one of the first people I followed, persons I followed, just because he's very humble, but he's also very eye to eye with all his fans and his followers. You know, he talks to everybody at very level, and he's very inspiring. You know, I just in everything, in every aspect, him and of course Schwarzenegger, but The Rock is a bit more active on his social, very active, and you know, yeah, ever since I first got Instagram. And I was following him. I was like, this guy really keeps it real, and he's humorous, and yeah.
Have you had a chance to meet him and talk to him at all?
I have not. I saw him at the Olympia show this year,
Okay.
presenting a trophy to Phil. That was really cool, and what he had to say and stuff. I think it's just very motivating, very inspiring for a lot of people, and yeah, definitely I really appreciate what he's done for everything for everyone. So
Yeah, no, I did get a chance to meet him at the North Americans and Nationals a few years ago. Didn't get my picture, unfortunately, but a very humble guy and very appreciative of his fans. And for as much celebrity status as he's remained incredibly humble, and I think he's a great role model. And I would have to say that he's probably also my favorite person to follow on social media. Other than there's a new website or no, I should say Facebook and Instagram page called We Rate Dogs, and some like college kid from Georgia, people send in pictures of their dogs, and he does like this rating system. But it's not the rating system; it's the manner in which he writes, and he turns out a very it's called, yeah. But every dog gets like a 12 out of 10. So every dog that he posts is like a 13 out of 10, a 12 out of 10, an 11 out of 10. But the man, it's We Rate Dogs, and it's on Instagram and Facebook. It's one of my favorite places to go, especially if you're a pet lover. You'll have to check it out. But
I'm gonna check it out now.
all right, man. Well, I'll tell you what. We're gonna wrap this up. We really appreciate your time again. Congratulations on your first win at the NPC Iron Games yesterday in California. First of many to come, I'm sure, your way. So once again, thank you, Callum. Guys, make sure to check out Callum on his Facebook, Instagram, and www.originssups.com for his new supplement line. So, Callum, that's going to do it for us, guys. Thank you. So, one more time, David Bay, Callum Von Mulger, MD All Access. We're out.